And here we are. Here's the first map. And it's the migration, just as I said. It's different from migration, obviously, that both teams are starting on one island, pretty close together. But otherwise, you still have to move into the main one and hope for the best resources and play to the best of your abilities. So right now looking, we can see that there's a bit of relic placement on the left towards the left team, which is RoR. One relic, second relic, and third relic on this map is actually on CZ's home map, or rather home team. So yeah, that's kind of evened out. I think that's not really going to decide the game in any way. So let's have a look around the map first. Right now for the CZ clan. Seems like some problems with the mouse or some such. And some reasonably safe gold and stone and hunt as well. It results from the fact that all the players are very close to each other, so you can't really expect any problems whatsoever with this, as it all will be decided on the middle island, as is usual on the migration. And as you can see, a lot of fish all around, so no team should be really disadvantaged. The corner, yeah, it's reasonably full. You could say that RoR have a bigger corner there, but I don't really think it's going to matter all that much. Yes, most will be happening on the land, in the middle. You can see that the resources are spread reasonably well. Gold, yeah, some 3 mines, 4 mines on a CZ side, and pretty much the same amount on the left side for the RoR. So the map is reasonably fair as it can go. And probably one of those most interesting spots will be around here, around the middle of the map, where the one extra gold mine is. And whoever is controlling this higher ground will actually have a pretty good spot to go into the left side and possibly make some reasonable landing onto the RoR island, or the other way around on the CZ island. So we saw some signaling that was most probably for the relic and some such nonsense. So nobody yet is going for dock. This is kind of interesting that it's closed off right off the wall, which kind of leaves CZ with, I think, a bit of an advantage because nobody can sneak up on them, and all they need to do is really close up this kind of small patch of water and this one, and they will be safe on the water there. Well, that's going to be reasonably nice. And somebody already dropped in docks. See some dock messages from our special overlay, and here we see some first dock. That's actually from Jon Snow, who is right now playing Persians, and that's something I haven't said yet. Jon Snow is Persian, Kira Viking, and Babka Mayan, and against them we have Mayan, Yannick, Mango Vikings, and Skull is going Japanese. So Japanese and Persians is the difference. So let's see what's actually going to be better. The only one kind of lagging on villages right now is Mango, and was at 13, right now at 14, so he seems to be having a bit slower start, even though he's... right now he's dropping at the last spot actually. And right now he's actually built the dock and is fishing. So that's a dock on the left side where is actually somehow yellow going. Or maybe he's not even going for any water and he'll be just doing some faster landing. That wouldn't be the worst course of action, I think. Oh, here. Sorry. I just haven't noticed that he's already built a dock on the right side. So we have blue and yellow on the right. Trying to take up this side. And how's it looking for RoR? We have a green, we already saw earlier. Purple is actually going for the backside to make use of the Bountiful Sea on the left, and the red is on the top side. So yeah, everybody is taking the respective spot, and second dock is actually being dropped by red right there. So that's, I think, the second dock, but green seems to be going there as well. Looking for some better placement on the promontory here. Yeah, it's going to be docked somewhere here. Somewhere here, and how's looking for CZ? That's another dock? No, that's just a fishing, and Mango is just using his time to actually hurt some of those deer back to his TC, so that he doesn't have to build a mill, and has that much more extra wood to actually build more efficient ships. As for yellow, he's now building his dock inside the cove here, so that he's much closer actually to the mainland. And well, since he doesn't need to build the dock at the backside like purple did, he'll be pretty much safe to go anywhere he wants. I'm kind of thinking if we're going to see a water battle, it's more or less going to go through the bottom side, because it seems to be much shorter way. It actually pretty much is, and that's the reasonable thing to do. Just going to put on Fog of War if somebody was scouting right now. Not much, but you can see that this blue fishing ship is attempting to do so. So that will be a long way around the island. Find anything, and is someone from RoR actually going for some scouting? Doesn't really seem so. They seem to be content with gathering with all they can. Still being a bit far behind, or a bit far behind all those others, and can just see Jon Snow saying that Babka actually stole his hunt. Alright. Yeah, this is pretty nice from Red, who's actually trying to place as many houses around the island as he can to have a good line of sight. So that they are not surprised by anything. Yeah. This is where the villager from Mango was actually fishing, and he just decided to put the dock there, which is, I think, pretty much a good spot. And this one is looking for another dock. Probably. This would be a pretty good spot, and he'll be covering the bottom side, it seems. I'm just going to have a fog of war where actually the fishing ship is, and it's almost going into RoR's base, but still quite some ways to go. And we see that players are actually advancing into feudal age, and everyone at pretty much the same time. The only one lagging behind is, god damn me, what's the remaining color? Oh yeah, purple. Right now clicking in, and it's just going to be even, more or less. There's no advantage whatsoever for anyone. And you can see that Mango has already discovered where the enemies are from the bottom side, from the bit faster one, and it's really curious that RoR are not going with their ships anywhere at all. Yeah, they're seriously not interested in any water fight, so it seems like they will be going very fast into the land, not really caring about the water at all, even though they have plenty of docks. So if something starts happening from CZ, they will be potentially ready. You can see the insane number of fishing ships. Same goes, although, for CZ as well. Although I'm kind of thinking that they are not as advanced as RoR, are having a whole lot more, I'm thinking. You can see that the fishing spots covered by RoR are slightly higher. 17, 13, 13, well, slightly higher. It's actually more or less the same, but we need to take into account that CZ have one blue and one teal actually not gathering. Maybe the teal already got back, but yeah, it was two of those fishing ships not gathering at all, and we see the market being dropped. And is somebody actually trying to move onto the mainland right now? Because so far it doesn't really seem so. So maybe everybody is just booming into some kind of faster castle, which is kind of reasonable, because the opponents are really far away and trying to surprise with galley rush. That's actually what Kira is trying to do. Right now, 4 galleys are just going up the long route, so still blue has a long way to actually protect, and he's trying to do the same, although he's way slower, as he's building from just 2 docks, it seems. Just send it to 4 galleys, or rather 2 galleys. So he's going to be pretty massively surprised by this red fleet. And how's it looking at the bottom? Well, absolutely nothing from green, but teal is interested in some shenanigans. So he'll be joining the fight from the other side, where actually green and purple are having nothing. So it might be a bit of a surprise, but yeah, we see majority of the players going castle. That's double from both teams, and one per each going for some feudal age fighting. And right now Skull just discovering that he needs to retreat, as he's kind of underestimated what's happening on the water there. And he really will have to speed up the production. As you can see, that red is sending a whole lot of fleet there. So he's not really frolicking about, and he's meaning serious business. So better be careful, Skuldy here. And he might need some extra help from yellow if he's not really reacting properly to this. Right now it seems like red is not really preparing actually to advance into the CZ base, which is kind of curious. And we also see some first scouts. And oh, this is unfortunate for yellow, as he was just discovered by this green scout, which just happened to go there. And you can see that green is having quite a lot of military buildings and villagers on there. Yeah, he's going for it much stronger than Yannick. So that's going to be stable, and barracks, and some extra villies, 5 villies on top of that. So Jon Snow is really going for it. And on the right side, we right now see castle being dropped by Mayan, which is reasonable, and also some outposts to actually have a good line of sight, which is not a bad idea to know what's happening. And just looking back at the water, oh, we see some fire ships here. Alright, so Jon Snow wasn't interested in some shenanigans on the water in feudal, and right now in castle though, he is going for fire ships, and that could be a bit of a nasty surprise for Mango, who is going with just some galleys. And that might not be enough, and at the same time on the right you can see that red is advancing into blue, but it might be slightly too late, as blue was able to actually build enough ships of his own to defend, and right now, with the extra targets in the fishing ships, if used properly, it could actually help draw some fire from the reds and force him to retreat. Right now he's just trying to outmaneuver his opponent, and he's doing a pretty decent job of that. Jon Snow just discovering where the castle is, and seeing that it might be a bit of a problem on there. At the same time though, green is very nicely established on the mainland, with a town center, dropping another town center, and a lot of knights, and since CZ are kinda slower, even though they will be at 2 there, and having plumes against knights, that's not exactly the bestest of ideas. So let's see how that will actually go. Right now though, let's have a look at the water, where actually right now Mango has researched war galleys, but is right now fighting against 2, and that's not exactly what he wants to do. So is Silon going to help him? Because right now Teal is going to lose here. It's not really helped, or going very hardcore on the water. So I'm just gonna have a quick look if yellow is hoping to join. I'm kind of thinking that he's not really interested, even though right now we see some fire ship, which is going on the right side, where yellow has overpowered blue, as it seems kinda that blue is not interested in the water all that much. And Skull is apparently seeing the chat here, so let's see if that is really happening. Probably could be, because Yannick is right now in Imperial Age, which is pretty fast, and Skull is in Feudal, so yeah, this is pretty much what's happening there. You sling and you stay in Feudal, and that's quite a lot of buildings here, barracks, and town center, and even though Jon Snow is at the right spot, he'll be a tad too late, but Skull still needs to be careful, otherwise he's going to lose those villagers. Yeah, he's just luring those somewhere, but yeah, they are pretty much dead, unfortunately for him. While on the water, on the right, well, CZ are definitely not winning. They are getting kinda crushed by red, who is having a lot of boats here, and yellow is trying to stall that somehow through fire ships, but he needs a lot larger numbers to actually go for that reasonably well. At the bottom, Teal has been able to accumulate quite a decent army of war galleys, and I'm kind of thinking he has enough to actually kill both of those RoR right now. So let's have a look at the land battle. You can see that Jon Snow is still having just those 6 knights, and right now that's not going to be enough. You see another town center being dropped by yellow. And finally, some pikemen. That means that the knights will have to retreat, and right now the pikes together with the plumed archers could be a pretty decent army to actually take care of what green has here, because he's not having any support from red, because red is going full water. Really nice supply route of the units, and a pretty decent fleet at Caesar's base. And that's actually pretty dangerous, because the islands are not that big, which means that the economy is under fire. Right now you can see pretty badly. Yeah, this is not really going all too well. Right now CZ, I think, have to hope that they really take the middle island by force and really fast by Yannick's presence there. Right now dropping town center right next to gold to actually cover it. And you can see that school is still paying a whole lot of tributes to actually sling Yannick into something brutal. And as I said, that Teal actually has enough army to deal with both RoRs on the water on the left, both the Babka and Jon Snow. Right now he's kind of forced to retreat as he's not having enough force to actually push him back. 7-2, 7-2, 6-2. Alright, so they are pretty much even. Viking versus Mayan. And it's just about the numbers here. Right now we are very close to actually Teal. This base should be having a much easier time of actually replenishing his forces, which is why Purple is retreating, but at the same time there's a lot of army of red right in the middle of the island, and there's absolutely zero defense from CZ, and CZ are getting very badly hammered, and their echo is taking the toll here, as the fishing ships cannot gather and they are getting killed at the same time. And still you see the insane amount of red war galleys actually go in here. So yeah, that's pretty strong. Mango right now clicking into Imperial. Jon Snow is the first to go Imperial for RoR, but he might be just a bit too late. Right now we see halberdiers from yellow, but I'm still missing some reasonable siege to actually take care of the buildings from green here. He's scouting around the island to actually see what is happening if some of the other RoR are actually joining the fight, which they aren't. And we also see, oh, town center being dropped by Mango, so that seems like CZ are recognizing that the water is kinda lost, even though not altogether. They're just trying to put up the fight, and right now I'm kinda thinking that they want to make RoR to overcommit. To actually, yeah, still keep building ships, thinking that CZ are going for the water reasonably, which I don't really think is the case. So right now, if that is really the plan, I think it's pretty effective, because you can see that red is still going full water, not really interested in transferring to land, and that could be a pretty nasty surprise for RoR, because Mango is there, and once he supplies some extra units actually to help yellow, this might be a pretty easy fight for the land here. You can see that yellow is established very well, even building some mill here, and he's pretty safe right now. Looking at the villagers, we have Jon Snow with 71, that is by far, very far the best. RoR, of course, have decent water, which CZ don't have, and we have the first trebuchet. And yeah, the problems are about to begin for Jon Snow. So is he up to the fight? As this castle drop is pretty forwardish and right inside his base, which supports the attack very nicely. And if he just puts enough of these units right near the trebuchet, that's going to be a very hard time. Very nice shot. Pretty hard time of actually destroying that. On the bottom we can see that Mango has advanced into Imperial as well, going for Galleon, so he's not giving up on the water, but at the same time he's interested in the land here and helping from the back. Castle is being dropped from Jon Snow, so that's going to help him. Kinda unfortunate that, yeah, that yellow doesn't see this. Disrupting that build would be pretty important, and right now he has to be careful with this infantry, because that's triple fire and that's quite early, to be honest. You can also see that Kira is finally landing, so he's going to make an appearance there quite soon as well. And well, that was a lot of cavalry actually dead for green, and that's all his army that he had at the time. You can see the town center is being dropped as well to actually cover this stone and this way through as well. Right now I'm not exactly sure if this is working for green as you would have hoped, because it means that all those villies are actually not gathering. They are repairing quite nicely, but yeah, they're not supplying his echo with anything right now. Looking at the water, back at the water, you can see that Teal is actually not having anything right now, so I'm not thinking that the Galleon upgrade was really all that clever. Although he's probably building inside his docks, so let's switch into Mango. Yeah, he's building inside his docks, so he's maybe aiming to prepare for some surprising release, but looking at the number of purple ships and red as well, I'm not really thinking that's the cleverest idea, and it might have been wasted resources there, could have been spent slightly better. But the presence on the water is lost, but not on the land. The land is right now, I would really say, going very strongly for CZ. But they really have to be careful so that Kira doesn't turn this around, because right now yellow and teal and even blue are completely oblivious to this, I think. You can see that green is also building town center near Kira, so that's going to be another one. Another base for RoR. Although, you can see that Yannick is having a pretty strong army. This means this base is pretty much dead, which is a bit of a setback for Jon Snow, although I wouldn't say all that much. You can see that Jon Snow was trying to build a TC here. Nastily surprised by the presence of Mango. And right now he's just trying with his villagers to lure the army actually to the water here so that they can be killed by these boats. Yeah, you can see some idols there. Quite a lot actually for Jon Snow, 20, 13, 11. Well, RoR really have quite a lot of idols. Is this the good battle? I'm not really thinking this is a very great battle for yellow to be taken. He's just probably trying to kill all those villagers. In which case it might be worth it. But you can see, yeah, the power underwater is pretty bad, and there's absolutely no way for CZ to come back from this on the water, I would kinda say. So really the only chance right now is for actually yellow to really storm the land altogether and all fronts, because if that happens, then not even the water is going to save RoR. Because quite frankly, without the resources of the meta island, you cannot win. You can see a bit of knights here, so green is still very much present everywhere. Pretty much present everywhere. Yellow is just trying to see what's happening on the islands, and is maybe purple trying to do something on the landing? I'm not really thinking so. I'm not really seeing anything yet. These villagers are pretty much waiting for a transport ship, I think. And that means that he's going full water still. Which might be slightly overkill, looking how good they are actually doing on the water. Right now killing pretty much everything that CZ have there. Those towers are a pretty good idea, because they have nice damage against ships and they are very hard to take down with normal war galleys. So yeah, that's that. And Skull has finally made a transition onto the land as well. So that's all three CZs there, but just to RoR. And we can also see that yellow is strongly pushing the advantage here, trying to put Kira out of his business, and that will mean putting Jon Snow out of business as well. The bottom of the island is pretty much secured, because this should be more up to Mango to actually cover the bottom. Ah, castle being dropped by Mayans, by the Babka, and that's the third RoR that we are waiting for to actually make an appearance here. And is somebody going to have a look at that? I'm not really thinking so. It doesn't seem like anybody is prepared for that, which is unfortunate. They should really wipe everything. Do not be surprised. And on the land, up top, you can see nice native trebuchets behind the tree line. Very hard to get to, although you might want to move forward. Or not. They are probably left there on purpose to actually stop the building like these and prevent the gold gathering and the stone gathering. Yeah, you can see right now that RoR are running kinda low on resources, which is understandable because they're not owning the middle island, and base island is empty right now. It should be mined out. Yeah, well, it's not out of stone, but it's definitely out of gold. And if RoR can't actually establish some reasonable mining camps or trade route, it's not going to go all that well for them. They might be actually forced to go some trade cogs, which is something you don't see too often, and I'm not thinking that's really something they would want to do, as it's not that effective as normal trading. Alright, so yellow right now hopefully discovered that purple is very heavily on the main island right now, securing another stone. That's pretty important for him, together with the double castles here and the water presence. That's very reasonably defensible, and you can see that teal is actually trying to go back to the water, building water castle and 4 docks, or actually 5. And he will want to go back to the water with vengeance. And that's a time where all of RoRs are still the near island of CZ with pretty much everything. That's going to be a pretty nasty surprise for RoR if they don't notice. But they just smell might, because he's going dangerously close to the TC and the castle. And once some of the blooms actually are out, I think they're going to go through here. And yeah, this wall is too close. That's going to give up what's going to happen here. At the top, you can see that yellow is trying to control what's happening at the top. And he's doing a pretty reasonable job of that. You can see that red is desperately trying to actually get in from these two mines, still not having any luck whatsoever. While yellow army is getting killed here. Well, another squad of yellow is going at the bottom. Finally trying to kill everything that's here. Well, bit of scouts or rather light cavalry. That's not really ideal against halberdiers, but against plumes, why not? Yellow has established a pretty strong economy on the land here, having 90 vills, Mango 111, that's quite a lot. He's having a pretty decent eco it seems, even though I'm kinda hardly seeing where, as on the main island it's not really that strong. And well, I guess it stacks up all those fillies, but still not really seeing the fillies all that much. I'm kinda confused about that number, not really thinking that it's accurate, and you can see that teal is going for a very heavy boom on the fish, on the ships here. From 7 docks, pumping a lot of galleons, and that's going to be a pretty nasty surprise. Can he disrupt some economy of RoR? Not really, because the fishing spots are kinda spent, so they will maybe be aiming to actually go back and retake the islands, and right now could be a pretty good spot, because the army has been reduced, and on top of that they are not replenishing anymore, so once Steel actually has a decent numbers, he's just going to slaughter everything there. You can see some 10 docks going for dry docks, so he's really going for it, and Kira is going for Imperial. As one of the last players, you can't really expect Skull to do anything, as he's still slinging, just going for the echo there. And how's it looking at the top? Well, Jon Snow is trying to make his presence count at the top together with Kira, although he can't really make that happen all that much because he's having no military presence, and that means that literally all yellow needs is both trebuchets and a bit of halberdiers and plumes to actually cover that, and that's it. You can see that on the left, red was finally able to make red abandon this position, and he built a kinda unfortunate that now Santa needs this gold, that he was trying to go for some extra gold. Yeah, not happening. And how's it looking at the bottom? Well, the proper landing is going very strong, and with help of green light cavalry is going actually pretty strong against Mango, who is having absolutely no army against that. And yeah, this is a pretty nice steal from Mayans of RoR. This is a very important castle, and this is kind of bad misplay from CZ to let that happen, because they are letting RoR back into the game when they were pretty much dead, as on the top they are limited basically to nothing, getting killed all the time, while at the bottom, yeah, Yellow just kind of let it happen. And right now he will be having a harder time to actually stop that, because it will be a full Mayan against full Mayan and light cavalry on top of that, and it's going to be 2 versus 1 against Yannick, so he really better crank up his game. Trebuchet in, he will be needing a bit more extra army, because right now this is not going well for Mango, who is losing a lot of villagers here. You can see he dropped like 20 villies from all those brutal raidings here. Oh, god damn it, that's a lot of skeletons. That's a serious amount of skeletons here that hurt Mango pretty badly and allowed Babka actually to get back into the game real seriously. On the water you can see that Mango is doing pretty well, but the landing is getting out of hand, although it might right now be offset by the fact that Mango is going to win the water. Because you can see that RoRs are actually coping with everything. just now getting the transport ship, and they won't be having any luck with this. Yep. So right now, CZ are back on the water, and are they actually back on the water? Well, they are still trying to actually solidify their presence on the land, I think, through that. The dark castle is dead, through pretty decent 4 trebuchets, it's just as well, but the army is not that good. It's not that good, and it's just coming down to actually 2 players fighting against 1, and 1 player is having a bit of problems actually supply enough army. You can see that even though he's slung, his resources are not really strong. But he's been able to finally push RoR off the top of the land, securing the gold mines and everything, which is very important. Still letting RoR Kira actually get back here for a moment though, as I'm not really thinking that he'll be gathering here for much too long. He'll right now encountering some opposition on the water, and he'll have to retreat because this is not a battle he can win, I think. Just looking at the kill ships being half dead. Although, I kinda thought that there's a bit more of purple. Well, it wasn't, so sorry about that. And how's it looking at the bottom? Well, pretty decent numbers, but right now I'm kinda really thinking that... alright, it's just 4 galleys against galleons. Well, of course, that's the reason why the deal is actually all in the water, even against superior numbers. Alright, so that's that. Let's have a look how this battle actually ends. Still, due to sheer numbers, it seems like that will win, but the difference between galleons and war galleys should be coming into play really soon. And have a look at the middle. We still see pretty much at the same position the 4 trebuchets trying to kill all of this, and you can see that Kira, or rather Babka, is trying to introduce some siege. And I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be some rams. Yeah, some siege rams to actually take down the castle. Well, right now the introduction of Eagle Warriors is actually what it took to turn the battle around, it seems. And it will be stop time for gold gathering for purple. Yeah. Goodbye, Willis, and this is looking very good for CZ. And TL is right now pushing through the top to actually stop the gathering of fishing boats and kinda put purple out of the water and red as well. Otherwise, green is still moving around. He just started here and went all the way around the island, and right now he has a castle at the top, which is a pretty good spot as yellow has literally 0 army there, and he's right now getting pretty much slaughtered on the economy. A very good job by Jon Snow. Right now RoR just asking if they should give up. They are probably out of any resources, as CZ are doing a pretty good job of actually limiting them. You can see that once this gold mine is out, it's going to be pretty much it, I think, for RoR. As yeah, there's simply a lot of units here from yellow, although these siege rams are a pretty good idea because they have an extra bonus against siege weapons, and they have a very nice meat shield against those archers, obviously. I'm just gonna switch into Jon Snow. How many cavaliers he actually has hidden there? Oh, that's just hussars, but a pretty decent amount, and he just right now ejected them, and that's a decent number there. Yeah, that's a decent amount, and he's just going to kill a bit of the archers here. And somewhere else on the island we can see that blue is kind of extending his presence, and green is still not giving up at all. Right now you can see that yellow is finally having some army up top, supplying another castle and trying to defend. Might cost him this castle because yeah, those little double trebuchets that's going to take that down, but it will buy him some extra time to actually build enough army to stop the onslaught and hopefully put green out of the land altogether. In the near the main island, Teal is finally able to actually clean the waters of RoR presence, so that CZ finally lords of the main island again, and at the same time on the left he's right now punishing the economy of RoR the same as CZ were being punished by RoR like half an hour earlier. That's going to be a lot of release dead. You can see that right now Kira is going for Galleon, so he's not giving up, and well, why would he? Because he has a pretty decent amount of ships still roaming the seas, and once those are into galleons, it will mean that Teal will have to be extra careful. Alright, so the army for green is done, and RoR are right now resigning, and CZ take this map. So for quite a lot of time, this game was really undecided, but the sling into Yannick to actually take the middle island was the correct answer, and it won the game for CZ. So very good job, and even though RoR really owned the water, it unfortunately for them wasn't enough, as the transition to land was a bit too slow. So let's have a look at the achievements, where we can see that Yannick, well, of course he was slung by CZ Scout pretty strongly. And best from RoR Babka, I would have to agree. So both pockets, the strongest players, both mines. Nice units killed and units lost. And largest army, of course, but Babka wasn't really far behind. Very nice sling, 20,000. That's quite a lot, and Kira was slinging also, but not as strongly, just 10,000. That's half the resources. So yeah, that's that. Pretty strong sling from Skull. 22 Imperial H. Yep, that's what happens with a good sling. Alright, GG.